What's up everyone, hope you guys are all having a great day today, and I guess we're going with this daily uploads thing. It probably won't last very long, but you know what, we're gonna try it and see how it goes. Anyways, I know what you're thinking. Josh, Griffin just made a video on this exact same DreamcastGuy video, and yeah, I noticed. But you know what, DreamcastGuy directly contradicted himself in another video from a few days ago, and I thought it was funny, and I want views, so you can take your little complaint, roll it up into a tube, and shove it up your ass. And also send it to me, because I happen to be a faggot. Anyways, time for context. So I talked about this a couple weeks ago in the Twitter video, but IGN posted this tweet. It went a little something like, the PS5 doesn't have enough next-gen only games to warrant being worth buying, and it has nothing to fall back on, unlike what the Series X has with Game Pass, which is a very fair statement. But Sony fanboys cannot give Xbox a W for one. They went through the mental gymnastics of searching up the guy's Xbox profile. They tried to say that PS Now was better than Game Pass. They tried to say that IGN was saying the PS5 had no games, and it was very entertaining, and I laughed. So today we're going to be looking at a retard who thinks that IGN making this very fair tweet is somehow them trying to spread misinformation for the sake of console wars. So let's just play the fucking video.
Spider-Man Miles Morales,
A glorified DLC.
Sackboy's Big Adventure,
A game which literally nobody cared about.
Eternal,
A game that was so buggy, the devs asked people not to play it until they fixed the game.
Godfall,
Complete shit.
Demon's Souls.
A remake of a game from 2009.
Man, I'm still just completely in love with my PlayStation 5.
Well, good for you. Glad you're enjoying it. That doesn't mean you have to defend it from literally every criticism possible.
It's now been about 6 months exactly since the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X have come out. Now, let's just be clear, both of these systems are fantastic. I'm not going to act like one is a complete freaking piece of junk and the other is a masterpiece. Both of these systems are definitely different and good in their own way. But today, IGN has decided to stir up some nonsense and pretend there's a gigantic console war and say some utter freaking BS.
It's funny because usually under any situation he'd usually be right when talking about IGN, but no, they're actually right here. And if IGN is right in a situation where you're arguing with them, there might be an issue. Maybe you need to swap out those lensless glasses for some real glasses because you clearly don't know how to read or comprehend.
Also today we're going to be talking about the fact that there's new PlayStation 5 controllers that have finally been revealed after leaking last year.
Don't care, I mean they look cool, but that's literally all there is to say about them.
What's up gamers, DreamcastGuy here. Now let's start things off by taking a look at the tweet that seems to have the internet on fire.
I don't really know why, I mean it's a fair tweet, but who knows, maybe he'll put up an argument this time rather than trying to put words in IGN's mouth. I am 100% sure that will happen.
Now brace yourself, this is some fanboy stupidity. This is the director of IGN. This guy is pretty dang high up. This is not just some random journalist. It's not some random freelancer. This guy is way up at IGN. And last night, he randomly dropped this. Since the launch of Next Gen, I've done a complete 180. And at this point, I would not recommend a PlayStation 5 to people. Not until it has more games. Now let's just take a second here to digest this ridiculous opening statement.
What the fuck's so ridiculous about this? Again, of the 5 PlayStation exclusives you listed at the beginning of the video, 2 of those games were on PS4, 1 of them was on PC, another was a remake of a game from 2009, and the only real PlayStation 5 exclusive he had there was Returnal, which might be good, but I don't think it looks too enticing to that many people from how the game launched. And then Ratchet & Clank, I believe, comes out tomorrow, which people are saying that it was pretty good, but still, 2 games. That's it.
I would not recommend the PlayStation 5, not until it has more games. That's pretty funny, but let's just actually think about the fact that, look, the Xbox Series X is great in a lot of ways. It has more power, quick resume is fantastic. Personally, I think the Xbox controller is a little bit better than the PlayStation 5 even now, but we need to just look at the facts. PlayStation 5 has more console exclusives than the Xbox Series X.
Yeah, No shit, but he's not saying the PS5 has no games. You're literally putting words into this guy's mouth. He's saying the PS5 has nothing to fall back on for its lack of next-gen only games, unlike the Series X, which has Game Pass. I have no clue why it's so hard for people to understand this. Like, I'm not an Xbox fan. I've never bought an Xbox and I don't ever plan on doing it. But even I can see the value that Game Pass brings, makes the Xbox the console for people who want the most out of their money, which is literally the entire point of a console.
So saying that the Series X has more games is a bit of a strange statement when it still currently is just boosting older experiences. But
he isn't fucking saying the Series X has more games than the PS5. He's saying the PS5 doesn't have anything to fall back on while the Series X has Game Pass. Jesus Christ!
Let's take a look at the rest of this. Get an Xbox Series X and sign up for Games Pass. I play an Xbox game literally every night, and I haven't even turned on my PlayStation 5 in 2 months. Returnal looks great, but it's $70. Game Pass is just too good to ignore. PS5 library will get there, ... someday, and it will be expensive. Now, let's just try and be objective about this ridiculous statement.
He is being objective. The PS5 has only 2 next-gen only PS5 exclusives. That's not good, and it has nothing to fall back on. Sure, older PS4 games run a lot better on it, which is the entire point of next-gen, but it's literally only for a select few PS4 games that have gotten patches to run better. But if you're gonna buy a console for the function of a console, which is getting the most for your money, then you would buy an Xbox. That's literally how it's been since the Xbox One X and Game Pass came out in 2017.
First and foremost, the biggest thing that Xbox people talk about is backwards compatibility. Now, I'm not going to be one of those PS5 fanboys that acts like that isn't a great feature. The fact that I can take any of these hundreds and hundreds of games off my wall, plug them directly into my freaking Xbox and play them, upscaled 4K a lot of times, 120 frames a second, that is definitely an impressive feature. But here's my thought. PlayStation can do that as well.
But it doesn't have the smart delivery that the Series X has, making a lot more last-gen games upgraded for the Series X on the PS5.
Just not as old of games. You can do every generation of Xbox runs on the current Xbox. That's definitely an impressive thing. But to act like the PlayStation doesn't have games, there are 4,000 PlayStation 4 games. Almost.
Yeah, PS4 games. And how many next-gen only PS5 games are there? 2, 3 if I'm being generous and counting the Demon Souls remake, so 3. And here's where he contradicts himself. So he tries to spin this guy as just saying that the PlayStation has no games, which he's obviously not saying. And what makes this entire situation better is that a few days later, DreamcastGuy makes another video talking about the whole God of War situation that I made a video on yesterday, where God of War Ragnarok was announced to be cross-gen. I'll show you the clip from the video that he made.
Excitement for that. Now, sometimes people say that I'm a bit of a Sony pony. Now, this doesn't bother me, but I want to actually just say a legitimate criticism of the PlayStation 5 right now. We haven't had a lot of PlayStation 5 exclusives.
Damn, you really love to see it. He makes a video calling this guy out for saying that, quote-unquote, the PlayStation 5 has no games, when he literally says the exact same thing a few days later. Jesus Christ, I fucking can't.
All of which, 99.9% of that library also works on the PlayStation 4. And you know what? I'm going to go a step further. A lot of PlayStation stuff is dirt cheap now. A lot of PlayStation 4 stuff is already on sale. Is it Games Pass price? No, of course not. But these experiences are still good, and it's weird that people just kind of hand wave them away.
They are not. They are saying that the PS5 has only 3 next-gen only exclusives. How hard is this for you to fucking comprehend?
I'm going to do something super ridiculous here that I've never done before. Let's just talk about the size of the PlayStation 4 library. You know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to grab some fistfuls of my freaking games. Let's take a look at this. So, literally, I can just stack these up all the way to the freaking ceiling. So, whenever people say that the PlayStation 5 doesn't have games,
I just want to play this clip again for you because it's just really funny.
We haven't had a lot of PlayStation 5 exclusives. Whenever you want to act like Game Pass is such a better deal, Game Pass is fantastic. Game Pass is cheap as hell. It is a tiny monthly fee. I give it credit for that. But the fact that there is still just thousands and thousands of games that will run, that are great, that are freaking good deals on the PlayStation 4 and the PlayStation 5 is something that is too often disregarded.
And notice how pulling out all those PS4 games, he's still proving the guy right, showing how all he has in his argument is just a bunch of PS4 games and that's it. This is fucking hilarious.
Both the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X currently have gigantic libraries of games. If you want to talk about the newest and greatest experiences like Cyberpunk 2077 or something that's a bit older.
It's funny how we pulled out Cyberpunk for that because that game is 6 months old already and that game is still almost just as broken as it was when it launched.
Like, my point is that I'm tired of this "it's got no games" argument from everybody because it's flat out not true. Like, straight up, at this point, if you want to act like Xbox has no games, you're wrong. And additionally, if you want to act like the PlayStation 5 has no games, you're still freaking wrong.
We haven't had a lot of PlayStation 5 exclusives.
Games Pass is a great deal, but disregarding all the freaking amazing experiences that have been coming out over the course of the last bunch of years just because you want to try and play this console war fanboy BS. My point is, not only are these experiences great, most of them are dirt freaking cheap. These games are still freaking super good deals. You can get some physical discs. My thought is this: whatever you want to play, wherever you want to play, I think it is absolutely worth it. I'm going to go a step further. I think that if you're able to have the pocket change for it, I'm very glad that I own both the Xbox and the PlayStation 5 because both these systems are freaking good and they're going to keep getting better. Telling anybody right now that a certain system isn't worth it is flat out untrue.
I mean, if you want to play brand new next-gen only experiences, then these new consoles right now aren't worth it, which is exactly what the dude from IGN is fucking saying! God, I sound like a fucking broken record. This video is genuinely painful to get through from how much I have to repeat myself over and over and over again because of how many times DreamcastGuy repeats himself for fuck's sake.
Even more so, the fact that it is a director of IGN, this blows my freaking mind that anybody would try and play this card. Like, the fact that I can stack this up and
literally shoves 4 games behind me. Like, these games are still good. And this doesn't even talk about the fact that the gigantic digital libraries that both these systems have, the amount of digital-only games that exist on Xbox and PlayStation that are still mind-blowing, to me, those deserve the credit. And the fact that they just constantly try and disregard them, to hand-wave them away, to me, is not just stupid. In my opinion, it is ridiculous. It makes you look dumb to act like any of these systems aren't fantastic. Oh god, I'm gonna drop these. Oh god, oh god, oh god. Anyway, so as I was saying, it takes 2 to play that still. That just came out this year. The point I'm trying to get at, though, is that the PlayStation 5 does have great games. In fact, I'll say that the $70 price point is still a bit ridiculous. The fact that I have to pay such a gigantic markup to play PlayStation 5 games, I'll be the first to say that I love Returnal. $70 is a big chunk of change. My thought is that going forward, games are still getting better. The library of experiences keeps getting better. The times, the multiplayer, the open worldness, a lot of these games keep managing to improve. But to act like specifically the PlayStation 5 is having a library problem when we're about to get Ratchet and Clank, we've done so many good games so far. I mean, the fact that you're trying to act like this is still going on, it's straight up console war BS.
stuff like this. I'm going to be mean here for a second. As you can see, I've been following Error Justin on Twitter. I've been following this guy for a while. Justin, this is dumb. You're clearly just trying to bait the console war BS. And the most annoying thing is that the
thing that's the funniest the most to me about this situation is that Colt Eastwood said a sensible thing. And if DreamcastGuy would have taken 2 seconds to read the thread right here, you would have seen that he isn't comprehending the tweet correctly. Anyways, the rest of the video is just him repeating himself some more. Then the last 4 minutes are him talking about the new PS5 controllers, which have literally nothing to do with the situation. But anyways, that was genuinely fucking painful. Please give me some pity and leave a like, or if you really liked the video, maybe subscribe. But as always, thank you all for watching. I'm gonna go set myself on fire to numb the pain from this video, but I hope you guys all have a better day than I did.